Thank you very much indeed for that incredible build up. I hope I can live up to it. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's always an honor to be asked to present at one of these events and show you what I'm up to. And this is a project which was born out of something that I had on the market for many years, and AI pretty much killed off that old product. So this is the AI fight back for this, but we're also going to upset a few in the industry, no doubt, as a result. But that's okay. The software industry's best kept secret: how you can build a software empire without writing a single line of code. And a lot of what I'm talking about today is based on the insights from a book called Software Secrets Revealed, by author unknown. And I'll tell you later on where you can get a free copy of that book. Normally costs $10 or £10. But I'll tell you where you can read it for absolutely free, with a big thank you to the author. So there, you've been told there are a bunch of lies that are told in the software industry. And one of those biggest lies is that you don't need to be a genius coder. A lot of people think that in order to make money out of software, you have to know how to code. You have to understand a lot of the architecture. And to some degree, that may have been the truth in the past, but it isn't the truth today. The dirty secret that no one wants to talk about is that the people making the most money in software development are not coders, they're not developers. You take someone famously, Steve Jobs couldn't write a line of code. And yet Steve Jobs was a brilliant project manager. And I think the key here is anyone can learn to be a good project manager. Not everyone can learn to code. So the good news is, what if you could do it without learning how to code? You see, buyers pay for outcomes. They don't care what's behind it. A simple tax calculator selling for 500 quid a year is worth far more than some elegant fancy ass software solution that no one ever buys. Something is worth what someone else is prepared to pay for it. But you see, the old ways of doing things are broken, really, and here's why. Traditionally, people making money from software would hire developers, they would outsource it. And that was always a very good way to go. I mean, you could tie yourself into certain developers. You could find yourself paying for the wrong thing if you didn't really understand the development process. And there were various pitfalls, but none of them unsurmountable. But it was certainly a potential money pit. You could often, I know from past experience, I developed a product with a business partner. That product was called Writer Hub Online. Writer Hub Online cost us over $20,000 in development costs to get produced. We have since produced something that does the identical thing that that does with SaaSet in minutes. That's the crazy change of the cycle that we've got today. Vibe coding and AI assistance. Obviously, vibe coding's been all the talk, and you get this nice impression that anyone can vibe code. And then when you actually try it, if you are not from a coding background, if you are not got some technical literacy about yourself, you're going to get stuck because all of a sudden it says there's your finished thing. Now you just need to install this node thing and this web pack and do this and do, and you don't know how to do any of that. So then you have to ask it to talk you through it, and then things go wrong, and it just takes forever. And you end up completely dependent on this one copy of your thing running on one server. And then the other alternative is to go with a more traditional no-code platform. There are many of these about. I am not rubbishing them. For developing full-scale apps with databases and other extravagant things behind them, they are the way to go. But what people don't realize is that many problems can be solved with something far more simplistic. And that's where SaaSet really comes in. And SaaSet is going to revolutionize things in a few ways. The first thing that we have done is we have worked out a way of genuinely taking a plain English prompt. You do not need to be a techie. You do not need to know what you're putting in. You just describe it in English, and then SaaSet will build you a working app. Now, there might be a couple of bugs to fix and a couple of other things like that, but you do that by talking to it in English as well, or by pressing a button that says auto fix. It really is that simple. You describe what you want in English, you get a complete working application in, it says seconds there, I'm going to be honest, in a minute or so. So the difference between this and traditionally sitting in a chat GPT or a Gemini or a Claude session is that those things will spit out all these code fragments that you've then got to bolt together. It's not a finished meal. It's just like a load of ingredients. And yes, it can guide you through the process, but it's still time consuming and you're still doing stuff that you don't really understand what you're doing. And it just becomes a bit of a drag. With SaaSet, it spits out a single file, complete working app. So let's talk about the one file revolution. So by creating everything into a single file using client-side browser functionality, you end up with a product where you have got absolutely no lock-in or tie-in to SaaSet. If you cancel your subscription tomorrow, your apps keep working. You can keep selling them. You're not dependent on the platform. These apps will run on literally any web server. If it can host HTML, it can run these things. You don't need any fancy web hosting at all. The cheapest or even free hosting, GitHub free hosting, things like that, Netlify. Some of these apps will even run right off a memory stick, off the local file system of a computer. Now, I will say that isn't all of them, because some of them you're going to need an internet connection to make API calls or whatever your app may be doing. And also some apps will not run unless they're served over HTTPS because of something called CORS, which is a really boring thing we don't need to know or worry about with SaaSet. Because quite simply, if you upload your thing, it'll work. And if SaaSet goes away, your apps keep working forever. If you cancel your subscription, if SaaSet goes bankrupt, if we cease trading tomorrow and SaaSet vanishes off the face of the earth, which isn't going to happen, your apps that you have built will keep working. So let's talk about how easy it is to build an app with SaaSet and what sets this apart from trying to crunch something together in other ways. So this is how to go from an idea to an asset in 4 steps. This is the whole process. Step 1, describe it in plain English. In this example, build a calorie tracker with a pie chart. Now you can give it more information. You can tell it, I want it in this color scheme. You can say you want a certain styling. You can say the more information you give it, the better, but it's still plain English. It then whirs away and it does something and it gives you a finished application. You may need to make some refinements. You know, maybe you don't like the color scheme. Maybe you don't like, you want an export button on the chart or something like that. When you're happy with the finished app, you can download that asset. It can be hosted and run from anywhere, whether you have a SaaSet license still or not. So you are this completely sets you free from being tied to a platform as you are with so many other app builders. They want to tie you into their architecture and their scripting and their everything else. Now you might think, well, if you're going to build all this stuff into a single file, surely these things cannot be very complex. They got to be pretty straightforward. But here's the thing, it is astonishing just how powerful these things can be. And also you can have our advanced reasoning mode act like a project manager that thinks through the architecture before creating it. So even if you've only got a vague idea of what you want, it can help fill in the gaps. You can build astonishingly complex things with this because you can link out to other what are called APIs. If you don't know what an API is, don't worry about it. You don't need to know what an API is. SaaSet knows what an API is. And really, there's not much limit to what you can build. Now, there are some things you can't build, and we are going to cover that in a minute. We're completely upfront about what SaaSet is and isn't for. But let's take some examples of things it is for. SaaS tools, SEO audit dashboard, lead magnet generation, building internal tools for invoicing, maybe something as simple and fun as some games. Anything that is client side that doesn't need a multi-user database. Now, incidentally, I will say that if you know what you're doing, thanks to some various database APIs that exist out there, you could still build something that has database functionality. It would require the internet and it would be dependent on that database API, but it could be built. Here are some real products that I've put out or others have put out that are making money right now. And one of them is a course creator that builds complete courses, and it gives you illustrations, it gives you prompts, quizzes, gives you the whole lot. It does the thing that a lot of these other course builders do, but it does it all in one place. It uses AI. And I've been selling that, and it's been selling on my Gumroad account. I've been selling white label licenses. And I also have a quiz generator I sell. That is also the 297 price point. There is a white label license. When I sell direct access to these things, I'm normally selling them for, $10 a month or $47 one time, things like that. And the great thing about this is I can sell these things as one-time price products because if then, there's no real cost overhead once they're running. There's an AI book writer that I've got a white label version of out there. I've also got a personal use version out there, which was launched on Warrior Plus and did quite well. And that writes a complete book for you using OpenAI's API, all built in a single file. Now, and this is the example. My friend and I had a product called Writer Hub Online, which was an AI book writer. And honestly, that AI book writer does just about everything that Writer Hub Online did. But I built it with this. And yet, Writer Hub Online cost us $20,000. I think it was, not pounds, $20,000 to have developed. You know, I made the AI book writer in an evening. Now, I'll admit the more complex stuff, I did have to go back and keep building and adding features and now put this in and now fix that and now do this and now do that. But the fact is, I was able to do it in plain English in an evening, something that before we gave to a developer, waited 3 months and paid them 20 grand to make. Perspective here. Let's talk about how you can monetize these assets. And I'm only going to give you 6 ways here on how you can monetize these. There are other ways, but just to plant some ideas in your head. You can build a simple SaaS and you can just put it behind a paywall, put it behind a membership system, and charge $9 to $47 a month for it. You might want to sell a SaaS thing that you sell at a one-time price, stick it behind something like Product Dino or any other popular membership system that exists out there. You might then want to sell these software things on other marketplaces. Think about AppSumo, that place where they love the one-time price deal. This will build apps you can afford to sell at a one-time price because they're not going to have any ongoing overheads. All the stuff I build that uses OpenAI, I tell people to put their own key in it. It's bring your own key. They're paying for any usage. I'm not. I'm just serving up up the page with the code behind it that does the clever stuff. You can sell white label to this stuff. As my Gumroad store has got a few white label software products on it, and these sell for good money. $300, $500. And what are people doing with them? They buy them, they put it behind a membership thing, and they charge $10 a month to access it. White label is huge. You could just build a thing and put ads in it and then put it on a page and then drive traffic to it. And then you make your money off the ad revenue generated by those free tools that you're offering. How about offering custom stuff to people? Offer to build custom things or do custom variations of your work. Say you have got a a menu system that generates mobile responsive little menu apps for restaurants and things like that. You could sell that to agencies. You could also go out to restaurants and just sell them the service. And you just run your little app. And even if you get rid of SaaSet, even if SaaSet vanishes, your app keeps working. Bundling of bonuses. Companionware is enormous. I have a friend who makes a huge amount of affiliate commissions doing nothing but this. So the concept of companionware, someone's bringing out a course, someone's bringing out something. You think of a little piece of software or a little app or a little dashboard that would go along well. Software has a huge perceived value, far higher perceived value than a PDF or a video. So, and now you say, I've got an app that does this bit of the process for you, and I'm giving you that as my bonus when you buy through my link. And all you're delivering is one of these little one-page mini apps, micro SaaS things. There are countless other ways of making money. I'm not here to tell you all the ways to monetize it. I just want to plant a few seeds in your head. But these are the 6 most common revenue methods I use when building products with this. Now, let's get real and let's talk about what this is good at and what it definitely is not for, because I do not want you to think this is a panacea thing that's going to solve every problem ever. It's not. So, limitations and expectations. This is where SaaSet shines. Interactive single page tools, calculators, generators, dashboards, visualization, things like that. Stuff that doesn't need a database, stuff that doesn't need multi-user capabilities. What it is not for. You are not going to build the next autoresponder. You are not going to build a full CRM. You are not going to make the next Facebook. You're not going to do anything that's really multi-user or needs databases. And you're not going to be building mobile apps, nor are you going to be building Chrome extensions. This thing is none of those things. These are completely independent, standalone apps. So yes, there are 1 or 2 limitations in what you can do client side, but you will be astonished at the fact that those limitations really aren't very much. I am endlessly coming up with ideas to build with this. What is setting SaaSet apart from other platforms that build code for you is that you are not renting your business from us. You cancel your subscription, your apps that you have built keep working. SaaSet goes offline, your apps that you've built keep working. Now, sure, you can't come in and then modify them and make changes necessarily easily, but you've still got the app. You could take it to a developer and get them to take it further or whatever else. You're not tied in is the point. Now, hopefully you will join, you will stay a member because you will like the fact that you've got all your history and all of your being able to edit and everything else. And our pricing is designed to be super transparent. And I'm not going to mention specific prices here. The current prices are on the website. But these are the levels of accounts we have at the moment. We have a free account. You can start for nothing. You can go over. We only give you 200 tokens. That isn't a lot, but it's enough to have a play and build something. Think about what you want. Describe it in plain English. I would recommend the initial build you do with advanced mode turned on, and then you do anything else in standard mode. You'll be able to build one solid app with a couple of hundred tokens. It won't be fully featured. It won't have every dream feature you want in it, but you will get something up and running functionally. Then we have accounts that like standard, pro, and enterprise, which give you a certain amount of tokens every month. They also give you additional things at the higher levels like priority generation. Not a problem at the moment, priority generation, but as SaaSet gets more people on board, we quite simply queue the jobs with the AI in the order they come in, except pro ones get ahead of the queue and enterprise as well. So, but also Pro and Enterprise do have a token optimization system built in that will save you typically 20 to 25% token use over time in using SaaSet because it puts it through an extra optimization loop that we don't bother putting the standard generations through. Okay, Here's the action gap. Let's get real for a minute. The only difference between you and a software millionaire is action. Now you can sit there, you can be a muppet, or you can validate first, build fast, and ship. Here's the beautiful thing about this. In the old days, we used to have an idea, do a load of market research just to find out the idea wasn't viable. It cost us money. Now I can sit down with SaaSet, I can have it build something for a few pence or a few dollars, and I've got a product. I've got it done. I can find out if there's a market for it because I can just bring it to market. It is quicker for me to bring an idea to market than it is to go through all the research process with something like this because this doesn't have all of those massive costs and it's not tying you into a specific platform. So stop paying developers, start building. Your first app will take you less than 3 minutes to make. You can create a free account over at SaaSet.com. No credit card is asked for, no commitment, no lock-in. That is it. That is what SaaSet can do and will do for you. Thank you for letting me present and talk about SaaSet. And it's been a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.